So anyways, thanks for coming, Ricky.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so loving the Rav, but have no idea how to play, so I'm really going to be picking your brain.
Okay.
Should I stay on this? This is
Yeah.
what, the D major?
This is the D major and this
Okay.
is the B Celtic. And the only
B
different
Celtic.
notes are the center note and then the first note of this one, but they're the same scale
Yeah.
essentially between that. And you were saying you want to be able to improvise more
Definitely,
rather than
yeah,
having a pattern. The best thing, I think, the note that will never sound bad with any of the other tongues, which these both don't really have that problem, but if you were to do the center note
Yeah.
simultaneous with any of the other notes, so let's say we do note 5.
Okay.
So one hand is doing the center note,
Okay.
and then the right hand is doing hit 5 at the same time as the center note. Mine's going to sound different than yours, but...
In one of your videos, which I love, you say do it in the middle of the V?
Yes, yeah, because if you hit, especially in the center note, if you're hitting the upper portion,
Yeah.
you're getting the higher harmonic, but if you're hitting in the middle of the V, you're getting...
So you're
all
right
of it.
down at the bottom of the V also?
Right.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, anywhere off to the side is going to change what harmonic you're getting, so... Yep. Now, if you can practice swapping, so you're hitting that center note, and then if you shift your hand over, and now you're using your right hand to hit the center note,
Okay.
and you're using the other hand, there you go, yes. But you can move, using that same pattern, you can move it anywhere on here
Okay.
and have it be in tune.
I do like the sound of this. I like that.
And the way these are structured too, typically they have, the center note is one key in relation to the other notes. Because you're forming a partial chord.
Right.
Most of them, and this one, the D major as well, if you pick another note to do the same thing with, so we did the, if you choose the, say the bottom note on yours, which
Yeah.
ours are different, but
Okay, yep.
that's going to change the chord that you're forming with these other ones. So
Okay.
doing the same thing. Yes. So if you think of a chord progression in song,
Yeah.
if you're playing a C and then you move to a G, that changes the feel of what you're
Right,
playing.
right.
And the other musicians would be playing different notes with that
Okay.
chord. It's the same on the Rav. If you change your bass note or your root note, you're able to create a different
And I can
feel.
use any one of these as
Any
my
one of them.
root.
Any one of them. Yeah, so you could even do high. You can do any of them, but I think the best way to improvise is to focus on having one root note at a time, and then moving around, just to start
Gotcha.
with, just as like a
Gotcha.
beginning
And I
way.
should use the center note, you think?
You could use the center. You could start with the center until you're comfortable with it.
Now, it doesn't matter if I go twice over with my right and then
No.
come.
And that's where some of your knowledge in African drumming too could be useful, because you could still be doing, I don't know many patterns for that, but you could still be doing a pattern, whatever the pattern might be, and then substitute the first tap for that.
I'm not sure if I understand you.
So instead of, even say we're hitting just a solid note.
Yeah.
So you could swap out one of these taps for another note. So I'm going, there you go. And it's essentially doing the same thing you were doing before, but you're just creating a different rhythm.
Oh, I see. So we're playing a 4. I gotcha. Okay. Takes me a while.
No, it's okay.
It's interesting that the thumb and the finger really makes a different sound.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. The thumb is more of kind of a harsh, not a harsh, but more of a metallic
Right.
sound.
And of course, the left plays nicely on my djembe, not so much on my rev. So, like when I was learning the djembe, it's just a matter of practice makes perfect.
It's interesting. The center notes actually go together pretty well. I like the center notes together. Once you build, like I was saying, that the sort of root note, everything kind of falls into place.
So it sounded, every single thing, every hit sounded good.
Right, right.
Okay, so that wasn't my imagination.
No. So any chord progression that you use, because these are harmonic scales, except for your anolio, is within the context. It's kind of like if on a Native American flute,
Yeah.
where it's a pentatonic scale.
Right.
There's 5 notes that can function as the tonic note or the bass note.
Okay.
So I could pick, if I had 2 of the same flute,
Yeah.
I could pick any of the notes and hold it as a note and have someone else play one in the same key, and it would sound good. And these are set up in that way that you can keep one note going, and no matter what you play with it,
Yeah.
it's going to sound in tune.
So-
It's all chord progression. It's if
Yeah.
you stick just with, with the center note in some of them, that sounds a little happier, but the bass and then the third note in the scale kind of add a more nostalgic feel to it.
Right. And then I guess slowing it down too.
Right, right. And the chord progressions too. I mean, if you're using different chords by hitting, yep, just like that, you can change the feel of it as well because you're changing the root
Right.
note.
Yeah. It's interesting. I want to do the same thing, but I want to hear it on my.
Yeah.
On a Leo.
Actually,
Did I say that right? On a
yes.
Leo.
I think some of our notes actually are going to match up because my center note is the same as that center note.
Okay.
So we can still probably.
Okay.
we should try that.
I want to hear. This sounded very nice.
Yep. Let's try it. Let's try it. I'm gonna mute this one.
Since I jumped the gun. Well, I mean, I didn't. I was just going by my ear. Like
this one
is
sounds
what's-
amazing. I love this.
This kept
scale.
calling me.
Yeah, yeah. Like you said, you like the mysterious sound.
Yeah.
That one has that sort of
Yeah.
pensive, mysterious
But if
sound.
I don't know how to play it, I'm not
Yeah.
gonna. I'll never get
Right.
that mysterious sound. So I
Right,
got to
right.
start there, and then
Yep.
if I can get it going.
So you could try the center note thing like you were doing the
Yeah.
first time and see if you can do that.
Yeah, it doesn't sound as good as that. Though. I hate to say that.
No, but it's just because it's not a harmonic scale; it's an aharmonic scale.
Wow.
Still, most of the notes go together, but it just in Middle Eastern music, like this is similar to the scale Hijaz, and there's a lot of half steps
Okay.
in Hijaz, and that's that creates that sort of tension between the notes.
Yeah.
If
Wow.
you try it too, like try keeping the bottom note as your root note,
Okay.
and doing the same thing you were just doing and moving around.
Okay. Now, would you go here or no? Because this is.
Sure.
Oh, okay. Like this one right here doesn't sound good. Now, is it me?
No, it's the
note?
That's the tension between those two notes.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty and difficulty, I think, for Andre making scales, because one tongue has so many notes in it.
Yeah.
There's a lot more interaction than just on a normal, I have an idiopan tongue drum, and
Yeah.
where it's just one tone,
Okay.
there's less interaction between dissonant
Got it. Yeah.
notes, so those half steps don't sound as
Yeah.
jarring.
Yeah. I have a tongue drum also. I have the
Yeah.
Kaizen.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't remember the scale.
Now, in terms of sound comparison, do you like the sound of this, or do you like?
Oh yeah. No
I like
comparison.
I like my idiopan as well, and but it's actually, these are much more efficient to record than the idiopan.
Yep.
And I think it's just because there's more than one tone.
Yep.
Like when you record a xylophone, where it's a pure tone, you don't really have overtones. For some reason it feeds back with the mics, but this doesn't tend to do that as much.
Right. I would never compare a tongue drum with this.
Right.
And as Andre calls this, a tongue pan.
Right. No, I completely agree. I like I said, I've had a ham pan, and I did sell it recently, but I prefer the sound of these to most ham pans.
Yeah.
That's the thing about Ravs too, is they mix very well with guitars or with other instruments as well. I've never really done them with drums, so I'm intrigued to try that maybe today sometime. But
yeah.
But they're not overbearing when you play with other people.
Right.
The D major scale is pretty easy to play with others because it's a major scale.
Yeah.
Goes along well. The Celtic works with Hotel California, all on the Watchtower. It has a pentatonic feel, but it's a little more limited. But the A Russ can kind of play an A or G as well. So each of them has instruments that it plays best with, or different chord progressions. But it's kind of neat to experiment.
And that's
with
why
that.
we need more than one drum.
Yes,
See,
exactly.
people don't understand that.
I think the Ravs are interesting too, because if you just put them in someone's hand, what they produce, even if they're not a percussionist, or it's always different than what you're playing. And there's quite a few people now with some of the scales that I have.
Yeah.
But none of it really sounds like what I'm playing.
Right.
You know, the chord progressions might have the roots that are the same, but
yeah.
people's approaches are drastically different.
Right.
So
let me ask you something. So when you play one of your songs, can you repeat that the next day or the next week?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
So do you write it down?
No,
or it's just in
I
your...
just remember it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you just remember rhythms.
And this is, I guess, I like your idea of notational system for this is, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That makes sense, but I think eventually I might have to do that once I create a ton more songs.
Okay.
But even for guitar, I have a list of songs, but I have hundreds of guitar songs, and most of it's in memory.
Yeah.
But at some point, some of them are pushed out. I think that'll happen with this eventually, maybe in another year or so.
It's going to be interesting to see how you do your notation. Because that's why I have this out. I'm like, okay, here's all the stuff I've learned so far.
Yeah.
I may not know how to do it well, but here's the choices.
Right.
Now it's a matter of how do you line it up, and do you put left hand, right hand? Like there's so many choices, and no one does it the same way twice.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, no one copies another person.
Right.
So I'm trying to learn from everyone and figure out my own. I kept hoping you were going to have a notation system and just copy you.
No. I can think of one though. Maybe we'll be able to collaborate on that.
Yeah.
But for me, I kind of script music into my brain in a way that I'm not really thinking about it. Like even when I'm playing it,
You're feeling it.
It's scripted differently in my head than, because I learned all of my instruments by ear. So I have a different relation, because I never really learned notation. I never learned. I can read music, a tiny bit of music, but I despised my music theory classes because it was more about feeling it and doing it and then kind of discovering it as I go, which took longer. But it kind of gave me a different relationship to the instruments than. Yeah. One thing that I do if I'm trying to remember or reinforce something, so say I'm trying to remember. I'll play it a lot, obviously, to remember it, but also record it, and then listen to it, in the car, listen to it. So it's kind of ingrained in my brain.
So you have each note memorized on how it sounds. See, I'm not even to that point yet.
I think that'll happen. I mean, and part of that was just me, moving around on the scale and kind of knowing the chord progression.
Yeah.
It's also from making flutes, because I tune most of my flutes by ear.
Wow.
But
can I have one of your ears?
Yeah. I actually brought you a flute. You can have one of my flutes.
Oh my God.
But those hearing the space between that really changed the way I heard music, because I started to hear more of the distance between notes. And they're mainly pentatonic, Native American style flutes.
Yeah.
But it helped me to kind of develop a little more of an ear for what note would come in a chord progression or a scale.
Okay.
But again, I can see how that would be hard if you're used to a pattern and then not really the melody harmony end of it.
Yeah.
What if you were to apply a rhythm to that you play on that? Have you tried that?
I have tried. I have tried.
So you're doing like, okay.
So in my head, I'm playing bass, 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 tone, bass, bass, tone, bass, bass,
Yeah.
tone, bass.
Interesting. Because I think you could apply, like, because just using the high slap as the tone, you might be able to apply.
Oh, so the lower would be down here?
Yes.
I'm playing a little different. I'm playing more big, because it should be.
It's an idea. It's an idea, but
It's interesting. You play with a lot of thumb,
yes, I do. I do. And
which is, I like because it's louder.
yes.
It's bolder.
I don't like it because I'll play for 5 hours at a time if I'm busking and I ended up starting to wrap my thumbs with just gardener's tape. I tried electrical tape. They make silicone rings as well that you can put over
Seen
your
them,
thumbs.
yeah. Some.
I've seen people using them, and I think that's an interesting idea because then you could cover up that area.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I don't know if it would affect this. I kind of just like the sound of the bony part of your
bone,
thumb.
yeah.
However, my thumbs have modified themselves
Yeah.
based on, and I'm
I
sure
bet.
that happens with
Yeah,
that too.
yeah.
But and this, I still have the mobility here, but my thumbs definitely are, have a much bonier area to them.
Yeah.
And that happens anytime you put pressure on a bone, I guess.
Exactly.
But I can play for probably 3 hours without too much pain, but past that threshold.
What do you think your percentage is that you use thumbs versus finger?
Probably about 70% thumb, and because if I'm playing, like, I'll play for a second. Probably like 60
Yeah.
to 70%, I'd say.
Yeah.
Because I do a lot of chords
Yeah.
with that sort of weird L thing
Yeah.
that I do. So I'm using the thumb. The higher notes, I tend not to use the thumb.
Yeah,
because
they're
they're a little
too
more
high anyway.
clear with
Yeah.
with that, I think. But the lower notes are almost all, because that's a weird angle
Yeah.
to, probably from here up, I'll use the slap. Or when I'm doing the, like, kind of activating this
Yeah.
section.
So you kind of use what they call it, the tech or tap. So you
Yes.
use up above it versus below it.
Yes, and you can do it down, like, and it has a metallic sound, but I kind of like that you get
It's
that.
actually a note.
Yeah, oh yeah. And actually on my A-Rus, Andre, I don't know if you did it by accident, tuned this section as well. So you can get that higher note. Actually, this one's tuned too. Usually past these two, this area is not tuned.
So right above it, okay.
And that usually activates whatever the octave of that. But that's how I get a lot of that's how I envision in my head your playing of African rhythms, is using that as kind of like a tone rim
Yep.
hit. Definitely a tricky rav. It's funny though, because moving up the scale, that doesn't sound bad. These two notes next to each other, they don't really, but it's more when you're using a root that you can hear that some of them are a little bit dissonant. Yeah, the bottom two are probably the hardest part, but part of a chord though, they sound fun. That's so interesting. This is probably the most different sounding scale that he makes, because a lot of them have very similar notes. This is definitely the most unique scale, I would say.
Bass, tone, tone, bass, tone. So your left hand, you gotta use your fingers. Keep going. So if you don't do anything with your left hand, this hand never stops doing this. So even I always tell people, if you get lost in the rhythm, if you never stop doing this, watch the other players until you can figure out where to jump back in. But right now, if people saw you, they'd be like, oh, look, he's playing a cool rhythm. It's just like whatever that is. And here, actually, you can stop. And you can make up so many things. But I'm just going to play the Mori, show you the Mori Bayasa. Okay, so what we're doing right there is bass, tone, tone, bass, tone. The next one is going to be 3 tones.
Okay.
There's not going to be any spaces, so we have to use opposite hands.
All right.
So we're going to do bass, tone, tone, bass, tone, bass, tone, 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 bass, tone. Okay, because when I'm doing this is 3.
Yep.
Okay, so when you do this, it's 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay.
And then back to that kind of what I call like the anchor, which is that 1 tone.
Okay.
So it's 2, 1, 3, 1, 2, 3. So you're gonna, for the 3, you're gonna go right, left.
Okay.
So right, left. Now see how you just did right, right.
Oh, okay.
So for 3. Got it.
Okay.
That's it. And that hand only wants to do fingers. That's
fun. My rav playing is
yeah, exactly. So now you know how I feel trying to use
understand
fingers.
It's funny when I play, I I want to use my thumbs.
Yeah,
I'm so used to the rap.
Right. But you know, I mean, for someone like you could do that versus me. I want to teach traditional African. That's my thing.
I'd rather learn it and then break the rules for it. So
Yeah.
it's good.
Yeah.
No.
But there is one that you fingers, like you can do fingers,
Yeah.
and it's literally. So a lot of times, if I don't want to play loud, I'll.
Okay. Just kind of mute it a little bit.
Yeah. Certain
Yeah.
rhythms. Like. It's slap, tone, tone, so, but sometimes I'll go slap, slap, slap. And this is a part that's in a lot of different rhythms. There's a few like this. That's another one. I call it the hop, but it's in a lot of the different parts. So I really make sure. Well, I'm really strict with how I teach my students. And they're not kids, they're adults.
Yeah, right.
But I would say you're gonna find this in a lot of things. So you gotta learn that it's right, left, right. You know, because people want to go like that. I go, just do that. It sounds different.
Right.
You know, so which hand you use is very important
Yeah.
on this drum because it puts that space in it or it doesn't.
Right.
And space is important. Space is better. I always tell them.
Well, it's kind of like on the rap. You wouldn't want to reach for a note with your left hand that's over here, because then it doesn't set you up to make the next note in the correct spot. So it's kind of the same thing.
And actually, I think I heard that saying from a rav player or a handpan player saying that when you're playing less and playing on the lower scale, when you hit that high note, everyone's like, whoa.
Right.
It's like brings you back, or not that you were away, but it's like, what are they gonna do? You know?
Right. Brings attention to that.
Yeah. So a lot of drummers, they just, I go, but all you're doing is making noise because space is making the rhythm. So it's, but some people just don't want to. They want to just
stay on the higher end of things and not. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, I've been playing for a lot of years. I don't want to do that because a kid can do that.
Right.
Like, but if you know where to put the space in, if you know when to double up on the same hand, you're
the tension makes it more mature. So, you know, it's like you're not just trying to go for the theatrics of it.
Yeah. And how much more can you get? I mean, your hands aren't stopping here.
Right.
But by doing this, you are putting that space in.
Right.
So
it's kind of like I do, keeping a chord on one side and then playing with the other one. You're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
With this, okay.
Yeah. Just play. I can keep that beat if you want to see if you can go off.
Sure, I can try. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll start with you for a minute.
Okay. Yep. Yeah. Definitely. right.
Yeah,
I like
I
that.
like that a lot. This one's a 6 or 7-year-old flute, and this has come across the country with me. But it's a perfect size just to put in your pocket and hike with. And this size too is durable enough you can just throw it in your backpack.
So this is that plant you were saying?
Yes, this is Japanese knotweed. This is the invasive, evil Japanese. I don't think it's evil, but other people would say it's evil. And it's kind of like bamboo. There's a process,
that's what it reminds me of.
There's a process that I used just to harden it a bit. There's a natural resin that I make for it. So it just adds a little bit of hardness to it. I also make bass flutes because they range from this size to like extremely thick pieces.
I saw one, it must have been on your YouTube channel, where it's huge. I kept saying to the guys here, I go, I think he makes flutes out of walking sticks.
I actually make bamboo walking stick flutes too. They're a walking stick and a flute all in one. Same
I was
idea.
hoping you were bringing it today.
Oh, I should have brought it.
Because like that was blowing my mind. I was like, the flute is huge. Wow. Thank you so
You're
much.
very
I
welcome.
am so excited.
And I just like this. This size is 10 times easier to play than a larger one. Because on a larger one, you can jump, the octave jumps pretty easily.
Yeah.
That's the octave, so this is the bass note. You blow harder and it jumps up. On a bass flute, it's really, really hard to get a stable bottom note.
Yeah.
But the little ones don't tend to do that.
Right.
Well enough.
So how long have you been making these?
Probably like 10 years. Actually, around the time that I started to forage is around the time I started to make them.
Yeah.
And they range from, these are just kind of simple ones because they're meant for your pocket, but then fancier carved ones and bamboo ones. But
so do you do art festivals, or do you just?
I have done some. I applied to do the Garlic Festival in Orange, which is a great festival. But I'm not in the Quabbin region, so there's one spot open, and unfortunately I didn't choose my harps and my flutes to be there. But maybe some year they'll choose my stuff.
Yeah.
But I'd like to do more. But I've sell most of them on Etsy. My Etsy site is the venue.
Oh, okay.
I'm starting to make RAV scale flutes, so flutes that go along with different RAV scales, because I think that people would enjoy those.
Yeah.
And there's a market. The flute market's actually a pretty good market.
Yeah.
So this particular one goes with my B Celtic. I made this one before I had the B Celtic, but it just happens to match the scale.
And what scale is this one?
That one I believe is a C. It's slightly higher than this one.
Not that that means anything to me.
C pentatonic. So it's just one note higher than this scale.
Okay.
So that would go well with most guitar players.
Yeah.
You know, everything's centered around C. So.
Yeah. Now, how did you find out about the RAV?
I joined the handpan forums about a year and a half, 2 years ago, and after that I purchased a DB handpan online, and was on there for a while. And then I encountered the RAV, I think through a link on the handpan forums, where I was reading one of the threads. And it was right when he had started making the RAV Vast 2. I think it was like a couple months after he started making them. And I ordered the A-Russ, but I have an 8-note. I don't have a 9-note one. It's only 8 notes.
Oh, okay.
So it's missing one of the notes that the new ones have. But it's funny, the new ones have a very different sound than the old ones. The older ones are warmer. The newer ones, I don't know, I can't really describe the difference, but almost more, they have more of the higher end than the old ones do.
Okay.
I don't know if it's a different steel or the process is different or what it is. But
he described it as louder, which I didn't take loud as a bad thing, where some people do. I was actually hoping it would be loud enough to play against djembes. Yeah, no way.
Really?
Even with, I mean, one on, like me and you, we could do it, but when you get more than,
that's a lot of
it seems like the volume, you just can't keep that volume, down. I mean, I've tried.
We should try to play the RAV and that together.
Trust me, that was my next thing I was going to do.
Once I figure out how to use a pickup on these well, I think it'll be perfect for playing live. But it is really hard to capture the sound of a RAV through a speaker live. Like this will probably pick it up perfectly, but it's very, very difficult to make. like that a lot too. Those go really well together.
Yeah,
actually.
yeah.
I like that.
That was fun. Let's do another one.
Yes. Want to try a different scale?
Yep. Up to you.
Yeah, let's try that. like that.
Wow.
It's neat what comes out when you play with,
Yeah.
because it's funny to play with another percussive instrument, because I've
Yeah.
never really done that, so
Yeah.
I like it.
Wow.
Want to do a different rhythm? I'll try a different scale if you want.
I want to get a D major.
The D major? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's do that.